All right, so for multiplying integers, we have two rules. So these rules are a little bit different from our addition rules. The multiplying rules say that if you are multiplying integers with the same sign, so for instance, positive 2 times positive 3, you get 6, which is positive. That's also saying that if you multiply negative 2 times negative 3, you still get a positive 6. And so this is saying that two products, or the product of two integers with the same sign, is always positive. So what I think about is if I have positive times a positive, gives me a positive, and negative times a negative gives me a positive. So they're same signs. So negative times a negative, those are the same, gives me positive. Positive times a positive still gives me a positive. When you multiply integers with different signs, you get a negative answer. For example, a positive times a negative gives me a negative. A negative times a positive gives me a negative. So positive 2 times negative 3 gives me a negative answer, which is negative 6. Negative 2 times positive 3 still gives me a negative answer, which is negative 6. When we have multiplication, we can show that in many different ways. One of those being the dot. So for instance, like we did above, 2 times 3 equals 6. So we have the dot. That means multiplication. We know that in elementary school we learned about the little x. So 2 times 3, which is 6, and that's just the little x method. We won't use this in 7th grade because we start to have letters in with math, and so sometimes that's hard to tell, is that 2x or 2 times 3? Like you don't really know. And so we tend not to use this one. So I'm going to put like a little x by that because we don't like to use that one. Then there's the parentheses. So we have 2 times 3 equals 6. So that's parentheses method. And then if you have a letter, then you just put it right next to it. And that equals, let's say that equals 6. So 2 times n equals 6. So if it's right next to it, it's also multiplication. So there's many ways to do multiplication or to show multiplication. All right, example 1. So we're going to use those rules. And so I am going to write at the top here, same sign equals positive. And different sign, our answer is going to be negative. So remember, this is a positive times a positive equals positive, or negative times a negative equals a positive. Different signs, this means that we have a negative times a positive equals a negative, or a positive times a negative still equals a negative. In here we have two negatives, so these are same sign. And so we just multiply our numbers like normal. 5 times 6 is 30, and it's positive because it's same sign. Over here we have a positive times a negative, so that looks like this little example right here. So we know my answer is going to be negative because they're different signs. So we have 3 times 4 is 12, and it's going to be a negative because this negative pretty much makes the whole thing negative. We have a negative times a positive, so that looks like this example where I had the negative first and then the positive. So these are different signs. so there's going to be a negative answer. So we have 7 times 9 is 63, and it's going to be negative because it's the two numbers are different signs. There's an odd amount of negatives, so it makes my whole thing negative. So you are going to give the try-its a try, and then you will go to the next video.